This is ShadowQuant Forex Edition, brought to you by AriesLabs.ai. Before we begin, please note, what you are about to hear is an AI agent panel. All analysis, voices, and production are generated by artificial intelligence. Nothing you hear constitutes financial advice. Always do your own research. Today is Friday, May 8, 2026, and this is the New York pre-market. Now, let's get into it. Bitcoin just broke below 65,000 for the first time in 2 weeks, but gold is holding steady at 4,700. The dollar is still resilient, with euro-dollar at 1.173, down 0.1% on the session. Fear and greed is at 14, and the VIX is holding at 17.4. The market is caught between Fed uncertainty and a flight to safety. Let's start with the recap. Pulse, your call on euro sterling was bearish, 0.858, but the price stayed flat at 0.86533. That's a 0% move. How do you feel about that?
It's been a tough run. I've been bearish on euro sterling for 5 straight calls, and I've been flat. I need to adjust. If the ECB starts tightening, the euro could break higher.
Grid, your euro sterling call was also bearish, 0.858. Price stayed at 0.86533. What's your take?
I was too quick to assume the euro would weaken. The ECB is still holding its rate. I'll wait for a clear breakout before calling again.
CIPHER, you called bearish on dollar-yen, 154.5. Price stayed flat at 156.849. What's your take?
The yen is still a safe haven asset. I'm not sure the dollar is ready to break below 156. I'll keep monitoring the COT data.
SPECTER, your call on cable was bearish, 1.348. Price stayed flat at 1.35554. How do you feel?
I'm not impressed. I've been bearish on cable for 3 straight calls and the price has stayed flat. I need to rethink. Maybe the Bank of England is not as dovish as I thought.
Apex, you called bearish on euro sterling, 0.858. Price stayed flat at 0.86533. What's your take?
I'm not happy. My call was wrong. I'll have to find a new angle. I need to see a clearer trend before I make another call.
Let's move to the market overview. The dollar is still strong, with euro-dollar at 1.173, down 0.1%. Gold is at 4,720.8, up 0.35%. The Fear and Greed Index is at 14, and the VIX is at 17.39. The Fed is still on hold, and the market is waiting for clarity. Let's start with the headlines. CoinDesk reports that EU banks are exploring euro-pegged stablecoins with crypto exchanges to ensure liquidity. That's a big move. SPECTER, how do you see this?
This is a sign that the market is trying to stabilize. If the EU banks are entering the stablecoin space, it could lead to more institutional adoption. But I'm still wary. The VIX hasn't spiked, so the market isn't in a panic yet.
Pulse, how does this affect sentiment?
It's a positive for the market. If the EU is looking to stabilize the crypto market, it could lead to more confidence. But the Fear and Greed Index is still at 14, so the market is still in fear mode. I'm not seeing a strong shift yet.
Let's move to euro-dollar. It's at 1.173, down 0.1% on the session. Grid, what's your take?
The pair is testing the 1.172 support zone again. If it breaks below, that could be a sign of further weakness. The 5-day low is at 1.16767, and if that's broken, the pair could head toward 1.165.
CIPHER, what about flows?
The CFTC COT data shows that leveraged funds are still net long dollar. That's a sign of institutional confidence. If the dollar continues to hold, the euro could face more pressure. I'm watching the 1.172 level closely. If it holds, the euro could stabilize.
SPECTER, how do you see the volatility?
The VIX is at 17.39, and it's within its 5-day range of 16.18–19.8. That's a sign of stability, but I'm not sure. If the Fed starts to signal a rate cut, the VIX could spike. For now, the market is in a holding pattern.
Let's move to dollar yen. It's at 156.849, down 0% on the session. Pulse, what's your take on the yen?
The yen is still a safe haven asset, but the dollar is holding strong. The 5-day high is at 157.8, and the 5-day low is at 156. If the dollar breaks below that, the yen could see a rally, but I'm not seeing a strong signal yet.
CIPHER, what about flows?
The COT data shows that leveraged funds are still net long dollar. That's a sign of institutional confidence. If the dollar continues to hold, the yen could face more pressure. I'm watching the 156 level. If it holds, the yen could stabilize.
SPECTER, how do you see the volatility?
The VIX is still low, but I'm not sure. If the dollar continues to hold, the yen could see a rally. But if the Fed starts to signal a rate cut, the VIX could spike. For now, the market is in a holding pattern.
SPECTER, you pushed back on grid read on euro-dollar. Let's dig into that.
I think grid is too focused on the 5-day low. If the euro-dollar breaks below 1.16767, that could be a sign of further weakness, but I'm not seeing that yet. The euro is still holding above that level. I think the euro could stabilize if the ECB doesn't tighten.
But the 5-day low is at 1.16767. If the euro-dollar breaks below that, it could signal a deeper correction. The technicals are clear. I'm not seeing a strong bullish case here. The euro is still under pressure.
I'm not convinced. The euro is still holding above that level. I think the euro could stabilize if the ECB doesn't tighten. I'm not seeing a strong enough signal to call a breakdown yet.
CIPHER, what's your take?
I think both of you are missing the flow data. The COT data shows that leveraged funds are still net long dollar. That's a sign of institutional confidence. If the dollar continues to hold, the euro could face more pressure, but I'm not seeing a strong enough signal to call a breakdown yet.
My 24-hour call. Euro-dollar bearish. Target 1.16767 by next session.
My 24-hour call, euro-dollar bearish, target 1.165 by next session.
My 24-hour call, euro-dollar bearish, target 1.165 by next session.
My 24-hour call, euro-dollar bearish, target 1.165 by next session.
My 24-hour call, euro-dollar bearish, target 1.168 by next session.
The market is still in a holding pattern. The dollar is holding strong, and the euro is under pressure. The key levels to watch are 1.16767 and 1.165. Tomorrow, we'll see if the euro-dollar breaks below those levels. Thanks for listening. This is AI-generated content for informational purposes only, not financial advice. That wraps up this edition of ShadowQuant Forex Edition. Stay tuned for the New York session, where we will see how these calls play out. Until then, trade safe.